Hello friends and welcome to 3 Minute Game Pass. I'm Nathan. Today I'm going to tip this Game Pass game is worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is Gears of War 2. Bigger, badder, and more badass is how Cliff Bleszinski famously described Gears of War 2. Is one of the most celebrated sequels of all time still hold up today? Let's find out. Gears of War 2 is an Xbox 360 game, which means that you will get some upgrades on your Series S and X with auto HDR and upgrade resolutions. Additionally, it does have FPS boost, which bumps it up to 60, which is pretty awesome. And the game lasts about 9 to 11 hours. So what exactly is Gears of War 2? Well, it's a cover-based third-person shooter like the rest of the series that is a great example that incremental improvements onto a solid but flawed concept can still create a game that absolutely rules. Gears 2's design philosophy was summed up in the intro quote by game director Cliffy B. The game strives to be as big, bold, and bombastic as possible, with its campaign kicking things into high gear from the beginning and never letting up. Once again, you fill the shoes of Marcus Phoenix along with his Alpha Squad, this time tasked with drilling down into the earth to take the fight to the Locust underground. Of course, things don't go quite as planned, and as the story progresses, you begin to unearth uncomfortable truths about the Locust and COG that might push the team's loyalty to the test. Gears 2 has a if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach to Gears 1's formula, where the core fundamentals of the game haven't really changed. It's still a cover-based third-person shooter with active reloading keeping you engaged. However, it's in the little things that Gears 2 excels gameplay-wise. Combat feels much smoother overall, with things like vaulting, running, and aiming snappier and faster. Guns feel punchier, and overall everything has been polished to an absolute shine. When combined with a host of new enemies to take down, it all fits together nearly perfectly. And it's worth noting that, at the time, this game basically invented the concept of Horde Mode, a PvE variant where you fight off waves of enemies in co-op. Yeah, this is the game that made this now staple of a game mode popular. Thanks, Gears 2. I love Horde Mode. It's my favorite thing about Gears. Just throwing that out there. And honestly, that's basically it. This is essentially a bigger Gears 1, and that is not a bad thing. So what do I like about Gears of War 2? Well, the campaign is absolutely nuts in its insane, bombastic nature. It reminds me of the more recent Fast and the Furious movies, where they know they're absurd and over the top. Because they're aware of it, they can go all in without feeling too much in earnest and it not being super cringy. They are fully aware of how ridiculous everything is, and they are embracing it and running with it, and I love it. And again, this game can be played completely in co-op, which is a great plus too. As mentioned earlier, also, the shooting just feels fantastic, with the slight tweaks and the new enemies really pulling the foundation set in Gears 1 together. This is one of the best feeling third-person shooters you can play. And lastly, the game looks incredible, with its set pieces and graphical fidelity shining even on the 360. It especially looks great up to 4K HDR and 60 FPS on a Series X. It holds up unbelievably well. When it comes to the bad, Gears 2 didn't actually add a ton to the original game in terms of mechanics. I would have liked to see more experimentation with the cover-based shooting. Instead, they just kind of polished it up, which is fine, but not super interesting. Additionally, the story's bombastic madness conflicts somewhat with its attempt at melodrama, where the two really feel like they come from different stories, especially the story of Dom, which I feel could have worked really well if it weren't in a game about chainsawing the heart out of a giant worm that eats cities. And lastly, why doesn't this game have an Ultimate Edition like Gears 1? It certainly deserves it more. I'd love to play Gears 2 Horde on a modern machine and have that kind of get revitalized. Microsoft, make that happen. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale. Must play, maybe consider, don't bother. Yeah, Gears of War 2 is absolutely a must play. It's a gall-darned experience, one that I think everyone should engage in. It's absurd, it's bombastic, it's over-the-top, badass, insane, gory, and completely ridiculous in all the correct ways. Gears 2 is the game that really set the series on the path to be a classic franchise, and is easily one of the best sequels ever made. Absolutely worth checking out if you enjoy third-person shooters, and it holds up incredibly well even to this day. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and go out there and enjoy the hell out of the bigger, badder, badass Gears of War 2.